Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Masks Monday. Apologies, it's been a little while, but for various reasons, we have had to take a little break. But anyway, we are back and possibly not doing much this session, depending on how much faffing our players do before starting on their intrepid journey through the Great Sunny Desert, but we'll see. But let's introduce the players first of all. Let us start off with Mr. Walker.
Yeah, the last addition to the party is Mr. Mitch Walker. He is a former friend of Dodge, a fellow archaeologist that decided, since he has some loose ends with the Sand Cult, to join these good-looking fellas and found a city in the desert because of gold fever that we want to instill into people, so that we have cattle to sacrifice to build a capstone, or so I'm told by Dodge.
Allegedly. We also have Mr. McNairn.
Yes, I'm one of those good-looking guys who's going along. In fact, apparently, I'm the only good-looking guy on this journey.
I don't know why you keep bringing that up.
Okay, I'm the least offensive looking.
What's your appearance? Because my threshold for shagging is 80.
65.
Is this with or without major sunburn?
Bear in mind, I'm a slapper, and you ain't hitting my threshold.
What can I say?
For a while. We also have Mr. Carter moving on.
I don't know if Andrew's finished there yet.
He hadn't, but that's Carter away.
Okay, yes, another pre-existing faffer. I'm sure we can plan a little bit more, and as was alluded to, that in case we actually do something wrong, we'll just dance around the subject. One day we'll get started on this trail south, and maybe we'll get to bleeding some people over a capstone.
And finally, we have Miss Lynn.
Hello. So, as previously mentioned, I try to sleep with everything. At least everything that meets the minimum quality control standard, which none of this lot do. I think they deliberately make their characters ugly during character gen now, just to avoid any potential hiccup.
Well, to be fair, if we didn't, then we'd never get anything done.
There would be. I mean, I think we need to have minimal distractions now.
Yes.
We're going to take her in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, but you say minimal distractions, but we're traveling with 150 odd. What was it? 120?
144.
144 people, First Nation. I don't know what the appropriate term is. Anyway, 144 of them, and at least one of them's hot because I've already had them.
Well, I was going to say now we just made our job a little bit more difficult. So we got 144 people that are not attractive.
But some of them are. I've got to work my way through them.
We have to dump them and get some others. Otherwise, it's going to take far too long.
I'll just be instilling higher morale every time we take a break.
Welcome to Mass on Monday after hours.
Yeah.
Be reinvigorating the troops, that's what it is.
I suppose theoretically you won't be noticed by other people if you have an orgy in the middle of a desert.
I think it's already well established the character's not too bothered about being discovered.
Yeah, be careful of that sand, that'll get everywhere.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Not a time for Lou.
But for those of you watching, we don't have a summary this time, just because, well, I don't know. But Ronnie's saving his for next time, so he can get his nice little bonus amount of luck. Those of you who have not done so already, feel free to roll your improvement for luck, at least.
I did. And I actually got some improvement.
Did already.
And I suppose I can give a little summary, although again, it's been a while since I watched it back. But yeah, you you did a lot of research about places that could make a decent capstone. You looked at the material and artistry and things, and you found out that the best place by far to get this done was in the Kimberley region. Quite a lot of it was then improvised by me, so I filled in some of the gaps since before now. So the quarry you visited would have been a place called Mount North, which I've put on the Miro board. It's about 150 miles away from Derby, so it's still pretty far up, and you did indeed go further north than Port Hedland. And you then would have stayed with the Mwanjan people. Well, they're kind of like a community. They're known as the Worora people, but there's like a community of them called the Mwanjan community. So you would have stayed with them, and you have convinced, beg your pardon, 144, 141 people to come with you along your epic trail. And your general consensus was to basically go south down the Canning Stock route, avoiding Port Hedland and Concudgery and all that. So you're theoretically avoiding a lot of threats from what you have gauged or what you know. But then various ideas were had in between then and now, which may or may not come to fruition, depending on what you eventually decide for reals. You as characters know very little about the Canning Stock crew. I know I did outline a little bit for you as players, and I have since done plenty of research on the place and the people behind it. But as you know, it is very, very dangerous and very, very remote. So preparation will be needed regardless of what you do or how you traverse. So I'll say that it's the next morning, just to keep things simple. So just to remind you of the date, it is now Monday the 20th, which is a new moon, just so happens. But also, you are starting to come out of the winter climate. It's still quite gradual. It doesn't suddenly get hot immediately. But at the same time, up where you're at the moment in Savannah, it's hotter considerably more so than on the Sydney and Perth coasts, which are more like 15 degrees. So quite sort of pleasant with some nice sea breeze. So even in this season, it's still about 30 degrees during the day. Potentially, it's hotter still going into the desert, and also the longer you leave it, the hotter it's going to get. The hottest time of the year is going to be November. Obviously, you're nowhere near November, but you know, if you think of it,
Two
upside down.
possible approaches that I can work out. Hello, Matteo.
Hi,
Approach
Matteo.
number one. We take the Canning Stock route. We go back to where are we near Derby, isn't it?
Derby is west from where you are.
Yeah. So we go back there. We order as many wagons and horses as we possibly can, and we do a big train, basically a land train, down the Canning Stock route. That's option one. Option two, we try and hire a light aircraft, something that can take, half dozen people and a few supplies, and we ferry people, few at a time, with supplies. First lot out sorts out the better landing strip, blah, blah, blah. Then take heavier loads, more and more trips, fill it up that way. Those are the two options that I can see. Open to more ideas, but I think it's one of them two.
Yeah, the plane could be a cool one if we found a way to finance it.
Major if.
Well, I think we could probably finance it between us. I think
Finance is not your problem, really. It's more everything else.
Can we get a plane that's big enough, given it's 1920?
1925. I'm
25.
gonna say the answer is 99% no. If
I'll take
you're
those
going
odds.
to, if there, I did a bit of research on this as well. There is an airport in Derby,
There we go.
and
Already
basically they do a route down to, I can't remember exactly where, but it's basically down the south coast to Geraldton, which is kind of in the same line as Willuna, which is the bottom of the Canning Stock route if you're thinking diagonally. So distance-wise is fine, but convincing them to take you all the way out into a desert many, many times over compared to just down the coast.
Landing a plane in the desert is problematic anyway because the wheels dig in and you tip up.
Yeah, but you see, the way I see it, there's like the first lot out there, which would be us, very light, travel quite light, short, which means a shorter landing. All you got to do is find somewhere in the rough vicinity that we need to get to, and then that first group can make the landing strip better.
There weren't really planes back then either in that area that would take more than 2 passengers. There were some more kind of domestic, like I said, the ones that go down this route to Geraldton, but there were two passengers and 1 pilot.
So we're ignoring the plan from last Tuesday then, are we?
Yeah,
From last Monday.
let alone supplies and resources.
Yeah, supplies going to be a problem.
I believe that wagons or trucks are actually our only viable option.
I think it's more likely, yeah.
Yeah, the only 6 sort of capacity plane I could find were introduced more in 1929 when they expanded the route a little bit more.
I would edge towards trucks more.
That really gets down to how the road is.
Well,
I mean, carry enough fuel.
Can we carry enough fuel? The problem though, if we go with the wagon train, which I think is viable as well, the problem is that we then have to have enough supplies for all the people and the animals.
Yeah,
which
whether
means
it's
we're carrying
that
a
of
shit ton.
Yeah, okay, but either we feed the horses or we feed the trucks.
Yeah.
Either way, we got some extra weight to take into account, whether it is, as I said, fuel or hay.
I mean,
camels are also a possibility potentially.
Yeah, they got age as well.
We're talking what? Well, at least 600 miles, probably more than that, 900 miles. At least, aren't we? That's not including from Derby, that's from Halls Creek.
Yeah. There is one other thing. And I'm going to bring it up because it needs to be said.
Is this your plan to become Prime Minister of Australia?
No, nothing. No.
Genius plan that was.
No, I think it's fucking. I think it's genius, but we don't have it. I don't think we realistically can do it.
So it's the second plan then.
Yeah,
we've got 2 capstones in place. We just go home.
You're muted, Becky. No, the thing that worries me, the only thing that worries me about going to Derby and getting all those supplies is we might tip the cultists off. Because we're going to look like one great big wagon train going into the middle of a desert.
Well, I'm thinking Derby isn't where the cultists are, though, is it? We're thinking they're in Port Hedland. Because that's where everything was pointing.
Well, technically, you don't know. You've not even been to Derby, really.
As I say, I mean, you could be right. You could be right. We could get to Derby, get all the stuff, and get out there without tipping the cultists off. Absolutely right. We could do that.
All the clues from Darwin pointed to Port Hedland, didn't it, and Concudgery?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got no leads for Derby directly or anything like that. But at the same time,
I have to stop the bastards yet. That is my main fear, that we tip the cultists off, because my real worry is if we're out in the desert, whether we're going by truck or by wagon train, if those cultists start trying to attack, especially at night, if they start using those hunting horrors or the Shantaks, we're going to be sitting ducks.
Well, yeah, that's
We're going to
what
be
our
out in the
direction,
open with those wagons. They could start picking us off one at a time,
whatever
quite
direction we
happily.
come from.
Which means realistically, we want to take more people than we need.
Player talking here. That's gonna happen. That's not a if. We know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Also because we were told that the first expedition suffered these
Yep.
things. So that's for certain. That's gonna be another pain in the ass to find more people to join us. That's gonna be more resources to bring with us, more
Yep.
trucks, more pain in the ass. As I
The
said.
only possible hope is that when we get to where we're going, there might be people there that we can recruit. But that's a big if, and we don't have enough information to even rely on the possibility of it. We've got to assume what we're bringing is what we've got.
We can't actually see the bottom part of the Canning Stock Trail. So are we just seeing the top bit of it, or is the bottom bit shorter? Could we go by sea to somewhere south and come up?
The only reason is because it's basically about halfway down the whole route. So Wiluna's the southernmost tip.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter then which way we go, up or down.
Not really, no. I mean, in terms of how it was actually carved out of the land, it was carved from south to north rather than the other way around. So potentially it could be a little bit easier going the other way, but at the same time, you've had to come up here to get the capstone done, and now you've got people up here. So
yeah, we have people here. Now, I have done a little bit of research. Unfortunately, I found evidence of Junkers F-13s and Junkers G-31s available in Western Australia, but I cannot find provenance for Derby specifically.
probably Perth more likely, or near to Perth.
Quite possibly, but it's to do with gold trade with New Guinea in this time period. So, yeah, quite likely Perth or Darwin. Actually,
We've got time, haven't we? Can we go to Perth and
Darwin was
hire
mentioned.
one?
Darwin. I think Darwin was mentioned. I think one of the things I was looking at. But anyway,
You've already been to Darwin.
we have already been to Darwin. It's on this side of Australia, sort of. But so that is like, if we wanted to get planes, I think Darwin would be the place to go. We should be able to get some cargo planes.
We could always go and hire one, like I say.
That would be the problem. Is we need more than just a cargo plane. We need fighter planes. The issue is that you have to do that. Land train is probably the way to do it, and I think the way to do that is to go to Derby and get every wagon we can find, horse and cart, basically, or camel if need be. But every bit of livestock we can find that'll pull a cart, because we need to bring water and food in large quantities for 141 people. For how long do we think the route will take to walk? Did we work out like a week to get to the start of the route, 2 weeks down it?
If you worked out as traveling 15 hours a day, which with that many people, horse and cart, is probably going to be more on the upper level. And also, none of you, even Alan, are particularly used to walking many miles a day either.
Well, that's why I'm thinking carts. Everyone can rest at some point during the day.
Well, we can rely. There's going to be some wells on the way, even if some of them have been damaged.
Yes.
There will be some.
There will be the ability to restock on some water, but we should nonetheless, it's 141 people that are going to be sweating, perspiring.
Yes.
And frankly, some of them are going to need to wash, especially me
I-
after sex. So I think we should make sure
Priorities again.
we've got enough, enough water. It's going to be a lot of livestock.
Yeah.
Are they all the people we're bringing? Are they all Aboriginals?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can do a little bit of foraging as well, can't they?
Not
They're
if they're
gonna be good.
walking. Also, aren't these people basically from a township? They're quarry workers.
They're quarry workers,
okay.
so they'll have a little bit of knowledge, but as I was trying to hint last time, none of them have ever been down this route.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be able to be like expert foragers or anything like that.
You might get
And
the
also-
odd one or two that's good at it.
Yeah. It also
Maybe-
kind of depends on how much you stick to the trail, because a lot of the foraging would be done well away from it.
I wonder if we could perhaps maybe hire a couple of cattle hands that have been up and down the trail before.
It's possible. Potentially.
We're lucky. Maybe.
Maybe, I mean, offer
But I
enough money.
suspect we're probably going to have to go to a farm and basically buy every horse. So maybe we'll get the stable hands.
Well, they're going to be out of a job if we take every fucking horse. They might be happy for the work.
Horse, camel, whatever.
Hmm.
Anything that can
Camels would be
pull a
good.
wagon.
Yeah, camels aren't towing wagons, though, are they? They're just carrying stuff on the backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, that we don't have to worry too much. We have to worry less about camels when it comes to water.
Well, you do,
Yeah.
because they still consume it, and they only got enough water for 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, but
We're going to be longer than that, which means you've got to refill the bloody camel.
Refill. It's not a water bottle.
well, it kind of is in a way.
The
Just
petrol
top up the
station.
hump.
No, I mean, I think to be honest, if we're going to get serious here, there is no good option. All we can
There
do is
isn't.
the least. All we can do is what we think is the least bad one.
They couldn't have actually picked a better blooming defensive position, could they? Really, it's hard
No.
to get to.
Because not only is it going to take us a hellish long time to get there, they're going to see us coming from
Are
miles
you saying
away.
you're actually impressed by the antagonists for a change?
Well, it probably wasn't their intention because it happens to be where it is, but yeah. I mean, someone better look at some camel recipes as well, because we're going to be eating camel before the end of this.
Isn't camel supposed to be quite tough?
Camel
I'm not
jerky.
eating camel.
Bit like brisket, is it? You've got to cook it for long enough.
Well, it's either that or you get the ump.
Yeah, I can't think of. We've looked at all the options as far as I can see, and we're still at road training.
Basically, it's land, sea, or air, and sea ain't going to cut it.
Sea ain't going to cut it. I think air.
I don't think air is the best. It's the fastest way to get there, and it avoids all manner of issues. It just creates a slightly fatal one.
And would our 140 odd people want to be getting on a plane as well?
Who was it who said tie them to the wings last week? Was that you, Ronnie?
No, I just mentioned that
I did
if we
not.
had to
I
get
did
4
not say
people.
tie them to the wings. At first, I said pack them in crates, and we can do them as we can
Ship
send them
them.
as actual as shipping.
UPS them.
UPS them. And if that fails, then tie them to the wings. Just as long as we balance the weight out.
And you thought
They would definitely not go with you if that was your intentions.
and you thought getting him elected as prime minister was a silly idea.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with the prime minister thing is that it's a perfectly good idea. It's just time consuming, and time whilst we have time before this ritual needs to happen, we don't have that much time.
What about
Then we'd
mayor?
have an army.
What about mayor?
Yeah, you don't need to run the whole country, just the Western Territories.
Governor, yeah.
Mhm.
There isn't actually. Jason looked it up last week. There is an election this year.
Yeah,
In November. That's why it's so funny. The guy who apparently wins in the Western Australia region is like super nationalist as well.
Oh, we can do that. We can. Now, what we'll do is we'll enter 4 candidates of the most extremely opposing views, and we'll divide the people into our 4 candidates by making them more extreme. We'll divide the populace, run a really divisive and angry campaign, but actually we are all the different parties. You know, do it like the Conservatives, basically.
Oh wow.
Oh, sorry, the right wing, but yes.
Okay, so I guess the actual plan then is Derby for shopping, essentially. Getting all
Derby
your
and the
shit.
farms around it, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
And then
we-
go on, sorry.
I suppose if there's anything we can't get, we can perhaps order from Perth or Darwin and get it shipped in. I suppose. I mean, if there's some stuff we really can't get,
We need wagon in large quantities, don't we? So we
Yeah.
basically need a couple of Cartwrights, like probably more than a couple.
it'd be handy to
And-
take one with us to fix wheels and stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's a major bit of logistics, and
Mhm.
my fear, I think it's the only thing we can do, but my fear is we're going to tip them off.
Well, that's
I think-
why we're not going from Port Hedland.
Yeah, so my next question was, is the plan then to head east, start at the very start of the Canning Stock route at Horse Creek and go down?
I think our plan is probably spend a month building up supplies of wagons and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
tanks of water, or you know,
Or what are you suggesting, Jason? Going across country to the stock route and missing out Halls Creek?
I'm not
don't-
suggesting anything. I'm just
don't-
asking you.
I don't think we can do that because I think that's going to cause us more. We're going to all die before we even get to
And
the
if,
trail.
and if all else fails, McNairn for mayor.
we'll make it the McNairn versus Carter election.
Yes. Yes, something between extreme homeboy and radical fundamentalist Christian. We'll get some votes.
Okay. Is there any extra like research or information you want to try and gather whilst in Derby or anything?
What's between Derby and Horse Creek? Is there a not a road but a track?
There's not a solid road, no. You think that there is some sort of track maybe or way certainly, but you don't really know the way. It's all savanna, gorges, things like that.
That's going to be a
Halls
test
Creek's the
of-
start of the route, isn't it?
Horse Creek's start of the route. Horse Creek is a town
'Cause I
known
think what
for
you're
its
gonna-
gold digging.
Well, then there's definitely going to be a route. There'll be
Yeah.
a travelled
Yeah,
route.
there is a route of sorts, but it is, yeah, it's not.
So I mean,
a
they must
major
have to they must get the gold out via Derby, then, mustn't they?
Yeah, got to.
Well,
Either that or they're
where,
flying it, in which case we'll get on the planes.
well, where Mount North is, which is where you sought help for the capstone, there are apparently quite a lot of quarries all in that area with these huge sort of rock faces and so on. So they probably get a lot of gold around there as well, and in the creeks nearby.
So as if we fly from Derby to Halls Creek, we can't take any stuff with us. Like
yeah.
No,
horses
No,
and carts.
it's literally just 2 people.
So, but my point is, if they're digging gold there will be a route. Even if we don't know the way,
Yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
follow the
yeah.
road signs. You know.
Yeah.
And are we? I take it we're arming up for trouble when we get there.
Fuck yeah.
We can expect some hunting horrors. Just don't tell the Aboriginals that are with us.
So I mean, I just don't think us 4 with guns is going to quite cut it, really.
But you can certainly acquire. Well, I think our travel companions should be well protected for the journey. Yes.
Yes. I mean, to be honest, I mean, for myself and Alan, our point of reference is what happened when we did the last ritual, and there was a hell of a to do before we got that all sorted. So yeah, we're going tooled up.
Well, yeah, Lin fended off a whole shipload of
I think it was
cultists.
like 4
Yep.
ships, wasn't it, or something? It was. I seem to remember there being multiple boats involved.
There were a few. Yes, there were a
Yeah.
few. You still rolled extremely well.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, look at that.
Plus, I mean, even before that, we had to, we actually had to go to the island and check it all out and everything, and that was fairly brutal. So yeah, pulled up.
We've got to build up as much as we can in Derby because I probably won't get a lot in Halls Creek, I should imagine.
I don't imagine so. No, we will tool up in Derby.
Yeah.
We'll resupply and water or something in Halls Creek, but.
Okay. Are all 4 of you? Well, I mean, I know this is kind of over the space of a month, but certainly those going to Derby first to maybe check out the area and stuff. Are you all 4 of you going together? Is it maybe party split? What would you like to do?
Well, some of us could even do a recce at Halls Creek, perhaps, and start buying
There's
stuff.
also it's not just Derby, but Broome as well, and that might have
Yes, there
more
is Broome.
wagons and horses there as well. So somebody could go from around the coast, on a boat from Derby to Broome.
Yeah,
and see if they can get much, supplies there.
Mm-hmm.
And then between those 2 places, hopefully we'll get enough horses and wagons. I don't know how you want to handle that, Jason, in terms of how you want to run it, but
yeah, kind of montagey. And from the place you've been staying out in the sticks, it's a good sort of couple of hours by truck into Derby anyway. So it'll take you a little while just to get there. But what I'll say to start with is after those of you who've gone to Derby, you do some general asking around. People are a little bit astonished and confused about exactly how much livestock you're looking for and things like that. But you think with enough time and with enough money, you should be able to at least get most of what you need. And then again, Broome is another opportunity to go there as well. And there are plenty of boats to Broome. That's not a problem at all.
I mean, I'm thinking if we were to spend a month even, there's no reason why we couldn't have 200 horses in that time. It's my thinking.
I mean, yeah, we can even be importing stuff from further afield in that time.
Yeah. So, like, if you think like 200 horses and let's say 30 wagons, that gets every...
No, you go. Sorry.
Well, that means there's 140 horses. So now we need 201 horses, right, and 30 wagons.
Yeah.
And then everyone's on a horse. Actually, no, we got spare horses at that because, of course, some people will be on the wagons. Because you at least need a driver. So,
yeah.
Just as a reminder, because I can't remember, have we actually got this capstone done?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It's all done.
Yeah, we've got the
Got
capstone
one
done.
carved. Yeah.
And then, so if we get, I'm just ballparking for now. We can actually go and do the maths if you want later. But like if we had like 10 wagons or 15 wagons of water, maybe 10 wagons of food, and a couple of wagons of weapons, and a few wagons of miscellaneous medical supplies, And then I think basically we need and then probably a couple of wagons of like bedding and things like that, tents and all that kind of stuff. And we all go on horses and or camels, whatever. You can put a certain amount of provisions on the horses as well, but you want to keep them fairly light because you want to keep them fresh for the journey. But bedrolls and whatever can go on the horse, no sweat.
Well, there might be some sweating.
It might be.
Then all I was thinking was maybe we should get a doctor or two, a doctor and a nurse, maybe, a cartwright, a vet.
I was thinking that I could perhaps visit some of the churches in Derby.
We don't need a priest, we got one.
No, but amongst the congregation would be things like farmers, doctors, and all kinds of people there. It'd be a good way of actually possibly acquiring those people by talking to them in that situation rather than going to them directly.
Yeah, if you want a doctor that believes in faith rather than his education, sure.
In the 1920s, probably a fair chunk of them did.
It's usually both for doctors, but
yeah.
I know. Are we going to need a cover for what we're doing? I mean, I would suggest Lynn's or Becky's idea of a gold rush if we're seeing we're heading towards Hawks Creek.
Yeah, well, as a decoy, we'll purchase loads of sieves and shit for gold panning.
I mean, we can also go on an archaeological site and just lie about our destination.
No, let's do it a gold rush because you never know. We might get a few bonus people in.
I was going to ask actually, because obviously, like farmers are kind of asking, why do you need this many, even just out of curiosity. Do you tell them that you're going down the canning stock route, or are you just keeping stum about that?
No.
So we're going to open up a big gold mine at Halls Creek.
Okay.
Not Halls Creek. I think we should continue to do the gold ruse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Down the Canning Trail, you mean?
Yeah.
Tell people where we're headed. I'm a bit worried about that, but
What's the worst that could happen? I suppose cultists could
they
hear
know
it,
we're
couldn't
coming. I mean, we could say we're going as far as Lake Gregory. We've been out there, and there's been a bit of a gold strike out of Lake Gregory. That's on the Canning Stock route, so we've got a good reason to leave, but not go all the way.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's the story you're going for. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are at least a couple of farmers who definitely raised an eyebrow at you. You think of your intrepid journey, but they say down the Canning Stock route, that's been closed for a good few years. There's barely anything down there.
Closed?
Yeah,
It's a route.
Well, yeah, it is a route, but at the same time, there's been various attacks along it. It's not really safe.
Well, when we strike it rich, it's going to be a major highway, so hold on to your hats.
No, if anything, it's all gone. There was a big story about a gold rush a few years ago when people went off, although we've not really seen them since.
That's because they struck it rich and didn't come back.
Well, yeah, probably. But you're by all means not the first. So if you do find anything out there, maybe let us know.
Where did they head to then? Where were they headed to? Same area as us?
Well, I don't know the area that well, but Lake Gregory does sound about right. Definitely down the Canning Stock route.
A few years ago.
Yeah. I guess about 1921.
Hang on, was that when
The Carlisle
Colt was out there?
That was later than
sure.
the Carlisle expedition, was it?
Just seemed to fit with that, yes.
Yeah, there you go. So it's either misinformation or rumour mutating into a gold rush. Yeah. Actually, we've met one of the people who came back from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's how we know where to look.
did he strike rich then? Is there much out there?
He seemed to be doing quite well for himself.
No. American, presumably. They always seem to be quite lucky out here.
Yeah, he was local. He's Australian.
Oh right. Okay. Well, good for him. Good for him.
Sure, you can't see many Americans out here.
Well, from what I know, one of the people who did go out there was American, or maybe there was a group of them from America. But yeah, talk of the town at one point.
Let me see if it was the same expedition our guy was on. Was that the Aubrey something? Or was it the Carter guy? Oh, because there's been a few, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Do you mean Carver?
Carver? Was that it? Carver?
I don't know their names. It was mainly talk from Port Hedland, all down there.
Mm-hmm.
But it certainly got in a few more Americans up here who were interested. So they stopped up in Derby for a little bit and all that. But I don't know if they ever made it back. They didn't
Maybe
seem
we
particularly
could.
used to the terrain.
Maybe we could ask to the place where they stayed. Do you recall where it was?
Oh yeah, sure, mate. There's only one hotel in Derby.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Looking at the notes about the we got from what was it now? The Australian professor that was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He's got May the 15th. Have told Robert Mackenzie. Was he American? Robert Mackenzie?
You don't know.
Okay. That's the only name that I can see that's might be American.
Anyway.
There's a letter to Edward, I suppose, Edward Gavigan, I suppose. That thing that Alan looked down.
Oh yeah, that's going back a few weeks.
Yes, and the letter's signed HR. Sorry, RH, sorry. What else is there? Zebedee Silver, we've dealt with him, haven't we? Professor Cowles, that's the guy.
Jogging your memory a little bit.
What else is there? That's a bit about. That's all there is here, I think. That's my Moore's diary.
Well, the whole kind of rumor or stories of people going out into the desert, it was mainly you found out about that in Derby. This guy called Charlie Bowles apparently worked for him.
Yeah.
Worked for Carver. So again, given the coordinates, it could have something to do with it. And if Robert Houston has anything to do with it, you know that Houston is American as well.
Houston, RH.
Mm-hmm. That's a reasonable conclusion at this juncture.
Okay, so he sent that thing from Australia was sending it from Australia to Gavigan, but obviously it didn't leave Australia for some reason.
Well, because you stole it.
Oh, okay. It was that recent, was it? Okay, I didn't realize it was that recent.
Well, you tore open the box and you found the device and the letter. Oh yeah, there was also
Where?
the big hole that was dug out in the desert, the big shaft.
I'm expecting that's going to be at the city itself. Or in search of the city, one of the two.
That's London. God, where's the New York bit?
What New York bit?
Let's just stay on the Myro.
Oh, just the thing in general. Okay. Yes. So. So yes, in Darwin, you found the strange device that was supposed to go to Gavigan from RH. That presumably was indeed quite recent. There was the rumors about people going out for work to these coordinates, digging a shaft, and then being told then they weren't needed anymore. They could go home. They could go to Derby, get a bonus, something like that. There's a guy called John Carver that his name keeps popping up. And then there's the various things to do with McQueer's diary, how he went out, found some stuff out in the desert, was attacked, of course, all that. And then there's the different stuff going on in Sydney with the cult down there. The clues about all the psychological stuff in the books you found.
Okay, so do we have trouble getting this many wagons and horses and supplies?
Not if you're willing to wait, no.
Yeah, we're going to
So,
take the
but
time and get it
takes a
done.
month. Then,
Yeah. It will take around about a month, yeah. You won't be able to get them, in a week sort of thing. But that's fine. In the meantime, with Mwanjan people, how is that going to work? Because originally you were planning to pay them, but given it's going to take this, yeah, you were thinking about paying them in place of their work.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, is that a problem?
Well, given you're going to be taking a month preparing before traveling, that's at least an extra month's worth of wages if you want to go down that route.
We're spending our cash, aren't we?
Well, we can always say to them we'll be leaving or beginning this in a month, and we're willing to take more. Anyone who's hardy enough to do the journey. So if you know any friends, some of them can start a little earlier because we'll need them to get supplies to get these horses and wagons to the people.
Yeah, I mean they can work.
Derby.
They can still work the mine for another three weeks or so before we need them. That way, they're not losing wages much. Plus,
Okay.
what we were considering paying them would have tied them over for the month anyway.
Yeah, we were paying them a bit more than what they were used to, wouldn't it?
By some distance. By some distance,
definitely.
without actually ricketing us.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's more. Will their superiors be angered if they find their work stock to suddenly not turn up one day?
Yeah, well, we can worry about that the day after we go.
The short answer is yes, they will be upset, and no, we don't care.
And no, we won't be there.
But you're going to kind of allow them to work for now, at least, while you're sorting stuff out. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. As long as they don't tell their employers about it. But yeah.
I found Houston on the Myro board. So
yes, you have a picture of him.
It's in Texas,
Dr.
isn't it?
Robert Houston, a fashionable Freudian psychologist, accompanied the Carlisle expedition to pursue parallel researches into ancient pictographs. Doesn't say what pictographs though.
It was a year ago. There you go.
Yes, it's taken you that long to pick up that he is a Freudian psychologist, indeed.
So what, he thinks the Black Pharaoh's got daddy issues?
Potentially. Right. Okay. Well, I better do some exposition then. So, 20th of July. So, you reach around the 17th of August. By the time you've gathered up all your supplies, paid for everything, sorted out logistics, maps, things like that. Again, last chance. Is there anything else you want to gather information-wise as well as supplies before setting off?
I know you're hinting that there's things we can discover, but we don't know what to ask or who to ask, so...
It's fine.
But yeah, we do want to make sure we've got a doctor, a nurse, a vet, a cartwright, and some cooks.
And some cooks. Okay.
Good idea. What could we be asking?
I don't know.
I mean,
It's more just giving you a chance if you want, that's all.
I'm worried at the partial cowardice and partial. We've been playing this for nearly 2 years.
Yeah, I don't remember what's what.
The point I was about to say, I am cautious to the point of possible inaction at this point. I'm worried that if we start asking questions round here, word is going to get to Port Hedland.
Which always happens every time we stay somewhere too long. Cultists turn up and start shooting us.
Yeah.
I mean,
we know where we got to go. We know what we got to do.
Yeah. Let's just keep ourselves keep as much down low as we're capable of being, considering what we're trying to do, and just go and hope nothing's been tipped off.
I mean, the whole point of going this way originally and taking the canning stock route was to avoid that kind of melodrama with the cult.
Melodrama.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. Fine. So, you set off on the 17th of August early in the morning. And, there is a bit of a scuffle, I'll say, with the quarry foreman and so on.
There's 145 of us. What are you going to do?
But yeah, at the same time, they don't really stop you from leaving. There's maybe a little bit of drama, but we won't play that out. You set off in tow this long train across the savannah. It's a hot day, and plenty of water is consumed along the way. However, to make up for it, the scenery is very, very beautiful here. There are plenty of breathtaking views. There's a wonderful place called Windjana Gorge as well, which the Manchun people know a lot about this area, actually. They're quite local. There is huge vertical cliffs. Even though it's the dry season, there are plenty of small pools in this area as well, with fresh water and also freshwater crocodiles. So they do advise which pools to avoid and things like that. You head east for about 5 days or so before you start seeing Horse Creek on the horizon. And when you arrive, like I said before, it's a smallish town. obviously not expecting such a big amount of people here, but it is blatantly known for its gold rush antics. There are plenty of carts and wagons here. There's banks and so on, all kind of processing all the gold and so on. When you reach the entrance to the canning stock route just outside, it does look kind of like it's cordoned off in the loosest possible way, in that they've got some sort of wooden boards over it, and somebody is just kind of sitting there on a shift. But at the same time, given how many of you there are, they don't protest. You just simply get sort of stared at and slightly gobsmacked. Some people shout out saying that you're crazy to go down there, but at the same time, no one blatantly stops you from setting off down the canning stock route. However, having said that, since it's been 5 or so days, are you just planning to carry on? Are you planning to stop in Horse Creek for a little bit?
I mean, I think having a day of rest isn't necessarily a bad idea while there's some provisions and light entertainment. What concerns me, though, is if this is a largely white town and we've got 141 Aboriginals with us, is that just going to create tension? Is it actually relaxation for them? So I'll let the Aboriginals that are with us guide us on that, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, we may crush this town's economic system if we buy and consume everything.
Well, put it this way. What I'll say is, even as you are walking through the town, they are already getting verbal abuse, spat at, that kind of thing. It's a very, very white demographic here. If there are Aboriginals, or say, there's a few Indian people and so on, but they're blatantly all working for the whites, and that kind of.
So as we're leaving, I'm going to shout back, "One day you will all be China."
I was going to say, given the verbal abuse that they're suffering, let's crash this economy. Let's just buy the whole town out from under them.
You're kind of skint, to be honest, after all the money you've spent on your livestock and so on.
Well, in that case, we'll just have to shoot them.
Yeah, but if we live, we get to sell it at the other end.
Okay. Right, let me just get up a couple of maps, because what's actually really cool is I have found one of the original maps of most of the trails, so it gives me more of an idea of things like wells and lack of and stuff. Oh yeah, I've done my research.
Well.
It even got coordinates written on these, so I think this is actually Canning's actual map or plot. But anyway, because again, the book doesn't account for you going from the north, which is hilarious, really, because I think it's a great idea. Yes. So, okay. So, going down the canning stock route. In terms of your kind of plan of travel, so far during the day, you've had plenty of water, which is fine, and you can fill up in these gorge pools, no problem. But at the same time, especially with the lack of cover in terms of there's no trees really at this point. It's very, very exposed. It's very, very barren. And it's still just as hot, if not feeling hotter than it was before. So have you got a plan as to when you want to travel? Are you just keen to press on through, no matter what sort of thing?
Don't travel through the heat of the day in a desert. That's when you're in your tents.
The only problem is that the temperature is going to dip something vicious at night.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could
have
have
shrubbery to make fires. So at the middle of the night, you do, because don't forget, back then anyway, people used to split the day in two anyway with sleep, 2 sleeps. So you're just going to extend the gap. So because you don't sleep. You don't travel in the dark because you need to see where you're going. And you don't travel in the very heat of the day. That's, sort of that 10 to 2 region. You just got to get under cover.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
I was sort of hoping our wagons wouldn't just be open flatbeds. They'd have some sort of maybe.
They've got to have
Canopy.
covers because don't forget also we need to, between them, put tarpaulin to keep the horses in shade.
Yeah.
So, that's why I said a couple of the wagons are going to probably be tents and stuff. And that kind of stuff. We'd probably have it arranged, actually, I would imagine. We'd have some kind of tarpaulin between them all, or canvas, whatever, with some poles, and use the wagons themselves as the tent pegs, and it's a big communal area. I'm going to guess that's probably something similar to the setup we've got, rather than individual tents.
Mm-hmm.
Probably have a few of them, but
I'm just trying to work out then how much time, how much ground roughly you'll be able to cover then each day.
Don't forget, we've got horses.
You do, yes, you do have horses.
Which massively increases the stamina. And slightly increases the average pace.
Slightly.
Yes.
Slightly.
But yeah, I think you lose like the hottest 4 hours of the day and probably the coldest 4 hours of the night.
Okay. So you're thinking kind of early morning, sleep 10 to 2, as you said, set off again, and then
you dismantle and have breakfast, or you have breakfast and dismantle the camp while it's still dark. But as the light's starting to rise, kind of rises as you finish your breakfast type thing.
Let's say this track is as rough as it sounds. We probably couldn't traverse it in the dark anyway.
No,
it's going to be really dangerous.
No, I mean, funnily enough, if we're out in the middle of the desert, if it's a clear night, we'd actually look pretty good, because the starlight and the moonlight would actually be.
Yeah, if there's a full moon, it's going to be really bright.
Would actually be quite bright.
Yeah.
But
given, hold on, let me think.
You don't travel at night because of the cold in the desert.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's the main reason. It's going to be close to freezing.
You reach the canning stock route just after the next new moon.
That's fine.
So I'll say it's Friday, the 21st of August. So in terms of moonlight, you won't get much.
Not for the first few days, anyway.
But,
we're not going to be doing much traveling at night at all.
Yeah. But what it says, during the first few days of your travel down the canning stock route, it does become very clear that during the day it is increasingly hot. Even on horseback, it's quite difficult even to keep awake. You have to have water a lot, and also your salt levels as well need to be kept sort of up there with nutrients and like salted meat and things like that. During the night, it is very cold. It sometimes even dips below freezing. Also, the first few days are okay-ish in terms of your like traversing the terrain. When I was actually watching a video of someone actually going down the canning stock route. It's a bit more hilly than I previously thought. It's not just flat all the way. It's got its dunes and things like that. And what you find is it takes quite a bit to navigate going up and down them, which sort of slows you down a little bit. There's also a bit further along, which has a lot of very dense corrugations, which are basically these little sort of tiny bumps, which are absolute murder on your carts. And some of them even get a little bit precarious. However, as you're kind of going along, I want you to make 2 rolls for me, actually. I'd like you all to make me con rolls in general, just to see how you're getting on with this heat.
Con.
And
I was-
also group luck roll person, please.
He's almost 61 luck.
I got 53.
Hard pass? Yeah, hard pass.
Yeah, I'm spending 1 luck to make it a pass.
Okay.
I just passed. I just got 65, what I needed.
Okay.
I'm spending 4 luck to make it a pass.
Okay.
I'm on 49 luck now.
I was thinking actually that our first few days on the trail we're probably going to make best time we're going to make on the whole thing, and it will probably slow down over
Yeah,
as we get into it, aren't we?
yeah.
Who was the group luck then? Sorry, was that Andrew?
Am I the group luck?
I believe it is because I'm at 52 now. Alan was at 61. I don't know about
61.
Becky.
57, so
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the group luck roll.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I'd go for that.
Pass?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're
Wonderful.
going to be responsible for how many times you get attacked then, Andrew.
Okay.
And this would be different from usual, how?
Okay, yes. So basically, as you were kind of indicating, yes, you're absolutely right in that you do make the most ground the first few days before, even with the pass con rolls, you start slowing down because there's not only you, of course, there's another 140 odd people. Some are a bit older, some are a bit younger, some are less in endurance hardy. There are sometimes occasions where you have to kind of stop for a bit and let somebody recover. In terms of the wells as well, there are a couple that you do come across that are unfortunately vandalized, so you can't use them. So there are times when you have to kind of go off the beaten track a bit and attempt to find the original water source, which isn't too hard sometimes, but other times it's difficult. However, I'll say that given your group of luck, you've been okay finding them so far, but it may become more difficult the further in you go. Also, with Canning's wells, they're not just simply a little walled well with a bucket. These are quite huge wells with proper troughs and things like that, which require at least 3 men or even like a horse to pull the water out, like draw it up from these wells. In fact, I can show you a picture of them as well. So that again takes you time, and it's all a bit of a slog, especially when you're all very thirsty and you need to top up your water.
well,
And,
like I said, we have loads of water. It's just a question of keeping it topped up at these wells when we can.
Yeah. But what I mean is, you've been walking for a long way. With these wells as well, they're pretty much a day apart from each other, if you're lucky.
Are we going to take any rest days on this trip, or are we just going to go straight through if we can?
It's a good question. We probably should.
I think it's no good arriving being completely knackered. Is it?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the numbers, because you'll see on the map the different main wells are numbered, which is a canning method, I suppose. So I'll say, let's see, what number is that? I'll say that you've reached about number 44, which is next to the native well, which is known as Jimbaringa. So you've been going now for a few more days. You've still got a good.
You're saying these numbers and names, but we haven't got the maps. So.
Is that Miro board?
Yeah. So it won't be on the map. Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought that they'd numbered the wells. They haven't. I'm sorry. Okay, so that'll be around. Yeah. So I'll say you're just before Lake Gregory at this point.
Okay.
Approximately. You also come across a prospector in your travels who's looking a bit kind of downtrodden on his camel. He appears to be alone, but he just says that he's off to a place called Mikathara, and basically says to hell with this place. He's not found any gold there or anything like that.
How long have you been looking?
Well, as you can see, I am the last of us. The others, all my guides, unfortunately died of thirst or attacks. But I got out. 6 months or so. We've been coming in, heading back out, and so on.
What attacked you? What kind of things?
Savages, of course.
Savages.
Yes. Your caravan lot there. And he points at the
I suspect
Aboriginals.
that's why you got attacked.
What are you talking about?
Well, if you work with people rather than against them.
I was just in the area minding my own business with my own guides, and they attacked me unprovokedly. That's what they always do here. Yeah, he keeps on ranting, and you can just walk past. That's absolutely fine.
But this caravan just keeps going past him.
Yeah, again, given the amount of people, he kind of gives up after a little bit, just, causing any animosity and things. Did you say, sorry, that you were going to rest? When you say that, do you mean like a day's rest, or
we'll
longer?
take at one of the wells. We'll take a day's rest at some point. So what, the seventh day or something?
A big well.
Day. Okay, yeah, that could work. So let's say around that kind of corner. So a couple more wells down, or really it's more like west at that point. It's a bit kind of flatter. So yeah, around there on the 7th day. So that would
We're
be
going to rest at a well so that we can leave with fresh supplies of water.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not really anywhere else you can stop really on this route apart from at the wells that are more kind of opened up. So let's see. So yeah. So
I just love the fact that there's a Lake Disappointment.
There is a place called Lake Disappointment. Yes.
I just love the fact that there's a Lake Disappointment.
I mean, it won't be the real name for that lake. It'll be the colonial name, but yeah, at the same time, it's hilarious. Yeah. So we get to the 27th of August. We're in, and I'll say this happens while you're sleeping. That's always nice. When you say that you've got these kind of covers on the wagons, are you staying in there as well, or are you pitching a bit further away? How would you want to do that?
Well, some people could, but not everybody will be able to.
I mean, we've almost certainly got extra tents, but I wouldn't have thought we'd use them. However, if we're taking a rest day, we might well give people a little bit of privacy who want it and stuff. However, I would be sleeping in the main arena and generally misbehaving.
I see. So what I'll say is, after your various noises that are kind of resonating around the commune.
It's meant to be a rest day. We can't even get any sleep.
Exactly.
Got a whole day. Like, this will be like, I don't know, after breakfast, then maybe after lunch with somebody else, and it's like meal times.
Yeah,
I was about to say, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" But that's kind of the point, isn't it?
I'm not going to go into the Mwanjam customs on sex with Chinese people either, because too much of a rabbit hole. So I'll leave that to your imagination. But okay, I'll say, Mitch, while you're sleeping in your tent, It's quite dark at this point. It's not quite the middle of the night, but it's getting cold, and you're all kind of wrapped up and trying to sleep. But almost a bit too late, you hear the sound of footsteps right outside your tent, and then something, presumably a person, almost trips into your tent and kind of causes it to fold a bit, and this person lands on top of you, and you hear a woman's voice cry out with this very kind of croaky, dry sound, and then something in another language, you presume Aboriginal, but you don't really know. It's all quite dark.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Who fell on me?
You
Was
don't
it a
know.
man or a woman screaming?
You presume it's a woman from the sound, but they fell on the outside of the tent into you, so they've kind of fallen on top of you, with the fabric all kind of tangled up.
Okay, so I'll just try and push them aside, wherever they are, and make my way out of the tent to see
Okay.
what's happening outside.
You hear more reactions and panting, and the sound of this woman scurrying around the other side of the tent, almost as if to hide from you.
I mean, I'm reaching this woman because now I can see she's a woman. You said, with my
Yeah.
hands up,
Okay.
saying, "I'm not going to do anything to you. What are you running from?"
Okay. So when you see her, even in the darkness, her eyes are very wide, almost kind of obsessively so. She's constantly looking around in paranoia, and she's also shivering from the cold. But she looks like she's traveled a very long way. Her feet and her ankles and her legs are all covered in sand, mud, and so on. She's obviously quite badly wounded, a bit malnourished as well.
Okay, so she's not from our expedition. She's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely. She's not wearing the kind of worker type clothes either, or at least what's left of her clothes. They're a bit ripped. But yeah, they definitely appear to be more traditional looking in the sense of, Aboriginal, you think. So there's a lot of like patterns and shells and things on there.
Okay,
She just looks at you, just frozen, in her spot.
okay, so she's not answering.
Yeah, she's not really enunciating anything apart from the odd sort of panting. She reaches up like this with her hands. You can see that
Okay.
her little finger is actually quite crooked, almost like it's broken.
Okay, the rest of the camp is sleeping, I assume.
From what you know, yeah.
I believe it was discussed last session, but to hell with me if I can recall. The tribe chief of the Aboriginals that we convinced to follow us into the desert was coming with, or is stayed back at Derby's?
Oh, I can't remember at the top of my head, but I think he said he was staying.
Okay, because in that case, I would like to wake up the highest in ranks
Okay.
of the Aboriginals so they can talk to her, since I cannot know if she understands English or not.
Okay. All right, you do so. She seems to be a little more, a little calmer at the presence of an Aboriginal. But at the same time, there's a big language barrier. And he turns to you and says, she doesn't speak Warroa. I think she's Martu, much more local around here. I can sort of try and speak to her, but completely different languages.
Yeah, but I mean, if someone here is going to have better chances and at understanding what she's willing to tell us, that's you, because she doesn't look like she's able to speak any English.
No, either that or she's really scared. Look at her; she's obviously wounded. Maybe you should get a doctor while I try and talk to her.
Yeah, sure. We can patch her up, and then maybe she will be able to tell us a little bit more about what happened to her.
Okay. So let's see. What I'll say at this point is the three of you, you're slowly stirring a little bit, especially those in closer proximity to Mitch's tent. You're hearing talking, commotion, so on. There's not exactly any soundproofing in tents, so you'll hear it quite well. And you hear this whimpering going on, and the mention of getting a doctor to help somebody. But the doctor.
God's sake, it's bad enough with Lynn. Not now we got the bloody archaeologist at it and all. Jesus, hey, God, I just want to sleep.
So the doctor goes along and she tends to some of the wounds. She's got quite a bad wound on her leg, which has really kind of slowed her down a bit, like a big sort of cut going on. And she tries to coax her into maybe talking a little more with the help of your Aboriginal friends. So let's see if they can do it. Okay. It takes a good few hours before she starts talking again, and even then, it's fairly basic English. But she explains that she thought that you were with Carver, and that you were going to send her back to him.
Oh, do we know Carver?
Carver's still in the desert?
I'll say that you kind of come round maybe, and maybe you're in one of the communal tents together, and she says, yes, I ran as long as I could.
What do you know of Carver? Does he have a lot of people?
Yes, and more every day, all coming here.
Oh, fuck. Do you have a lot of people? Do you have a home, community, settlement, something? A people's?
I am Martu. We have many communities along this route, or at least we have some left. There was many killings with Canning and his men when he carved your new route, and she points along the Canning stock route. And there are more of us further south from here, but many miles to get there, and I can't. And she lifts up her leg just to kind of show you further. I can't walk much
You won't
further.
need to. You can come on our wagons, but you should know what we're setting out to do. We're going to stop Carver and his hang on. Rainbow Snake versus what was it? What's the original one?
Sambat.
Sandbat. We're going to stop Carver and his Sandbat. We're going to get Rainbow Snake to help. We have the ritual, but we need more people.
I've not seen my people for many months. They think I'm dead, probably.
But you do speak the language of the area.
Yes.
then we can help each other. We will give you medical help, and you can help us talk to these people to help us get more people to help. Together, we can stop him.
All my friends are dead. With so much darkness down there in the city, I don't know if they're in one piece or many.
I understand. He's a horrific monster, and he won't stop. He's going to raise the Sandbat and destroy the world.
Yes.
But we will stop him. Me, you, and these great people here. With your help, we can do it. And we'll get your leg seen too. We have a doctor. And you can ride in the cart until you're better.
Okay. Give me a persuade roll with a bonus die.
Also, is she hot?
Certainly not in the state she's in right now.
I'm just joking. Where am I? Persuade. Oh, I do have points in that. Let's go. Oh. Okay. I'm tempted to blow 5 luck to make it extreme, but it if I need an extra, I can do that, but it's a hard. Bonus die, though. Hang on. No, that didn't help.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's a hard pass.
Okay. Okay, she is happy to lead you to where, you know, unless her people have maybe moved on, she will lead you to where they are. But she does at least want to rest for the rest of the night.
Of course, we're resting too.
Okay, no worries. And she does get patched up a little bit. She has to kind of be assisted, or like you say, go on the carts, etc., etc. You find when you do all kind of. Oh, by the way, presumably everyone is coming, right? It's not just like you're kind of going on a reconnaissance. You're taking everybody, right? To this community.
Is it on the stock route or is it off to the side?
It's off.
Then maybe I think actually no, we should just bring everyone. Like,
Yeah.
Unless it's going to be hard for the horses and wagons to get there. I just fear that if we leave 50 people behind or something or whatever, then
Yeah,
they're
we're not going to
gone,
find
you know?
we're not going to find 50 people when we get back.
Yeah,
Find 50 corpses.
quite.
Okay. No worries. It's obviously harder going, given it's not an official track, but at the same time, she does have a fairly good idea of which direction to go in. But it does add on another few days onto your journey. By the end of August, you come across a fairly small settlement, but it's in a shallow valley. So you think there may be other, settlements around, possibly. But you see a group of what you presume to be Martu people in proper native dress. Interestingly, they do speak English quite well.
Oh.
That is historically accurate. They do learn. Most of them learn English as well, at least a bit. So they are okay to converse with you. They can see, obviously, that you've got the Mwanjum community following you in their footsteps, and they're not hostile to you, but they're certainly very curious and maybe a little dubious as to why you're here with so many people.
And this is the people of this lady, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
It's her
the
people.
first thing, obviously, is to reunite her and get lots of kudos and for that to help win them over.
Indeed. Yeah, so it takes maybe a little bit, but she does find her family originally. They're obviously very emotional. And I'll say her father comes forward and thanks. Well, actually, I'll say that he goes to the Mwanjum first and thanks, and then kind of sees you and thanks you as well.
Now, is there a way we can get a gathering of your peoples? Because this is about Carver. That's why we're here. We're going to end him.
They, actually no. What I'll say is that they're happy to talk the next day, but today is a day for celebration.
Then let's celebrate. Who's your
By
hottest?
fucking everybody in your tribe.
Well, I'll say that at least one of you kind of enthusiastically comes forward, but they hold out a hand and say, "No, only us.
Oh, I see.
We perform sacred dances which no non-Aboriginal can be present for.
Okay, we
You must
will.
understand."
We
So-
will form our little camp
We'll be
outside
back
of town,
tomorrow.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Didn't mean
Okay.
any offence.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean they're happy. They're happy for you to kind of eat and drink, but when the dance kind of starts, it's this very planned dance. They, the sort of white paint as well. They start donning that. They very much want you out of the way. So I'll say that you retreat up onto this little hillock, and you can hear, in the distance, there's a little bit of music, but you aren't allowed to watch.
if it sounds anything like they're singing, you put your left leg in, your left leg out. We're going to
They're
feel
not,
like
Ronnie.
mugs.
They're not.
No, that's what white people sing.
Yes.
The campfire.
Yes.
Yes. Interestingly, oh god, I can't remember the name of the dance now, but interestingly, they do now let white people today perform with them.
The haka.
It's not the haka. That's New
No, that's
Zealand.
Polynesian.
Yeah.
For more kind of cultural education sort of thing. But yeah, normally it's entirely them only. No, I can't find it. Anyway, so I think as you're watching them from afar, or maybe having drinks of your own nearby, let's take a short break.
Okay.
All right.
Munch, munch. Hello.
Hello. I was just looking back into the annals of history there. When we're saying we've been here for a year, it's been nearly 2.
Yes, yes, it has.
First, the first
like
session was streamed live on June the 15th, 2020.
Yes.
Wow.
Jesus.
You're so close. You're so close to finishing the whole thing.
We're all going
Which
to
is-
die just before the end.
It's a mean feat for anyone. Like
I'm-
many
I'm-
groups
no,
give
I'm
up
quite-
beforehand.
I'm proud of the fact that we've went for it.
Yes.
Not too high a character turnover either, really.
Well, next session is session 60.
Yeah, we're not.
So-
You're not going to get to session 66.
And also, it wasn't just this campaign, but we also dealt with Mark Nyarlathotep. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we went-
Nyarlathotep.
We went frolicking for a little while in second edition Pathfinder when we took a wee 6-week
Mhm.
break,
Aye.
which was fun.
You know, oh, that's great.
Just quickly looking something up. Okay, fine. Cool. Right. So let's see what. Okay. Yes. Cool. So yeah, you have a little bit of respite, shall I say? A bit more time to relax that night. It's actually quite interesting to see this part of the desert from here. It's even more open, and again, because you're a little bit elevated, it's quite breathtaking views. And certainly for a couple of you who are more local than others, you see the stars up ahead, many constellations. Those of you who are not local from the northern hemisphere, it's a little bit confusing if you peer up there, given the stars are technically the wrong way round. They're kind of upside down. So it's a little bit uneasy, certainly to start with, and you're kind of getting your bearings a bit. There's you also notice as well that there's now like a little plume of smoke coming up. But
the stars?
also, no, beg pardon, from the, you presume, the fire pit down
Oh,
below.
thank God for that.
Oh, good for that.
Something's going really wrong, man.
Having said that, though, as the smoke rises up into the sky, you can see a speck of something just on the horizon that appears to move past the smoke before disappearing into the darkness.
In which direction would this be?
Well, it's right on the horizon, but I'll say it's kind of going off to your right in your area of vision.
You know, is that south, north, east?
Ooh,
No.
if you really want to know, give me a navigate roll.
Well, we're going that way, and it's going to the right. It's north.
it's
Well, you're off the beaten track.
Oh, bugger. I'm not going to get this.
it's southwest, guys.
Okay,
We know
Felt.
this.
felt that.
We're
You presume
hanging
it's
on to hope it's
southwest.
going somewhere. Oh, fuck off. We were hanging on to hope. Don't take it away from us. Okay, so what have we learned in the last few minutes? We've learned that our attempt to suddenly sneak onto this place and do this ritual is not going to go quite to plan. And something very big is flying around. It's big enough that we can see it, even if it's just a speck.
So we did get a cart of guns, though, right?
Yes.
Did it include a Lewis gun?
I'm gonna say no,
Or two.
but it's very far away. Like you couldn't really take it out with a gun from here if you wanted to. It's not a threat.
No, I'm
this
worried
point.
about later when it is a threat.
Okay, fair.
If it does spot us on the trail, whoever it is might just think we're a cattle drive.
What, lunch?
The pause just added to that.
Yep. That's sadly, I think that's exactly what it's going to think of us. Although I think more accurately, it's going to view us as a moving all-you-can-eat buffet. I'll have one of those, and I'll have one of those, and I'll have a couple of those, and I'll have some of that. Bless you, my child.
Thank you.
What? Oh, right. Okay.
Was it so loud that you heard me over my mute microphone?
No, but I
No,
recognize
okay.
the sign of someone sneezing.
Oh,
I always work through these glasses.
what I'll even be nice and say that during this night of somewhat merriment, relaxation, apart from the sex stuff, if there's anything the rest of you want to do as a kind of a self-help thing to get any sanity points back, you can.
I'm going to pray.
Go back in your box 2022. Japan's killing stone. Oh god. Well, fortunately, we're not in Japan. Right. You're going to pray. Okay. You don't really have a religion anymore on your sheet, though, do you? Because that was taken off.
It was taken off, but I'm trying to reconnect with my faith.
Reconnect. Okay.
Well, it's I hate to use comparisons and stuff like this, but I'll use it anyway. Have you seen the film From Dusk Till Dawn?
No.
There's a very nice bit where Harvey Keitel plays a lapsed preacher.
Okay.
And George Clooney keeps nagging at him. And he finally and Keitel finally smacks him one. He says, he says, I've just about had enough of you taking a mickey. He says, no. He says, I get it. You used to be a preacher and you lost your faith because your wife died. But he said, the way I see it, these things that are coming at us, they're from the vilest pits of hell, Jacob. And if there's a hell, there's got to be a heaven. There has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of where I am at now. I'm seeing these things and going, right, there has to be a hell, therefore there has to be a heaven. And sort of refinding faith.
Redefining it for yourself from your experience.
More viewing the negative has allowed me to is allowing me to possibly reconnect with the positive of what I saw of my faith.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sure I could allow that somehow. Okay. Yeah, why not? I'll be nice. So, because it's basically just to keep a discretion, really. So, yeah, I'll say that you get some inspiration from the stars and from the music you can hear down below, their culture and connections, what you've learned in the past few months, I guess.
Yeah.
And you pray. Could you give me a sanity roll, please?
Don't want to. Don't make me do things that never work. except for then, because that worked.
Maybe it's because you're so remote, but out here, for the first time in a while, you felt some sort of comfort praying again, and some sort of connection that you felt was really badly severed whilst you were in China. Or maybe it's just the change of scene. Whatever it is working for you.
It's the backing
And,
track my groaning's providing.
So, yes, I will. Okay. So you regain 5 sanity points.
I have no way of countering that at all.
You regain 5 sanity points,
Okay.
and I will let you put it back on your sheet as a significant. What's it? Although I wouldn't say it was a key connection at this point. It's not
Okay.
been that good a connection, but it's rekindling again, definitely.
Yeah. That's fine.
Anybody else?
I mean, I'm fine.
Yeah, I just want to take time to rest, I
Or
think.
no?
Mentally prepare for what's ahead.
Mm-hmm. No one's got a major wound, have they, by this point? You're all recovered.
No, I was hit points down though, but that was before the month of montage. So
Yeah, you've definitely recovered that. Absolutely. Okay. So what I'll say is that the morning, or rather the morning, the part of the morning that is, not too hot, comes along. So when the sun is just starting to rise, and you head back in to the Mar2 village, shall I say, or settlement, to talk with the superiors about what's going on. So are you wanting to recruit? You said you wanted to recruit them as
Yeah.
well, right?
yeah, absolutely. So presumably they've spent time with the peoples that we're traveling with.
Oh yeah.
We'll have some details already, and of course the girl we rescued. And we've told her about that and what we're doing and stuff. So hopefully we're going in quite warm already, in the sense that they should know what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, yeah, they'll know the basics. In terms of the celebrations and the dance, it's very. In terms of other subjects, it's very kind of detached, and the dance itself as well. It's long and it's very involved. So it's not like they can just kind of chat with each other about stuff that's happened, previous to that. But they'll certainly get the basics of why the Melanjan people are with you, and that you're not careering them down to, make them work or sell them or what have you. So they're certainly taking an interest in you, in a good way. But they still don't know the full picture. So I think the main thing is that I think they get the impression that you're not just your bog standard, prospector, or cattle driver.
Well, let's tell them the tales of Kenya and Shanghai and explain how Sandbat is rising and Carver's causing it.
Okay.
And we've joined this group of, or the people we're traveling with. We've joined them in the hopes of putting Carver and his dastardly plan to end the world to rest. Please join us. We need more help. Also, we have guns to deal with Carver. But, it's about the ritual, etc., all that stuff.
Okay. They look. I mean, you think, actually, do you know what? I'll let you have psychology rolls, actually, for this.
Together we can do it, but only together. 42. What's my psychology?
I think
pass.
you're pretty much the only person with a decent score. Okay. Anyone else do better than a pass?
No.
Just on the off chance.
If I spent all my luck, I'd still fail.
Okay.
What was it again? Sorry.
Psychology.
Oh, no. No.
Fine, just on the off chance. They're not against your motives, but there's definitely some underlying concern. And they answer you with a tale of their own. And they tell you about Canning and how this route of his came to be. They tell you of a time 15, 20 years ago. They say he started his journey from Wiluna and carved his way across our land with his caravan of people. White men will say that we joined them as guides, but really we were forced. They chained us to stop us from leaving. They raped our women. They ran us over with their horses. To start with, they made us take them to our own watering holes, and some of them were destroyed or overused. And then we helped build these other wells, which we cannot use. Many of us have been injured or even died from using them. They're too big, they're too hefty for us to use. We don't have any horses or camels, so we cannot use them. So even after
you can have when we leave, you can have that which we no longer need.
Well, we have tried to make do. But the point was, even after Canning left this area, many of our people died of thirst, perished because we could not access the water that we needed to survive. But survive out here, we still do. Those of us who are left anyway. There are still many of us who were made to move, unfortunately. Jigalong is the closest place. They moved our people off to work sometimes, or just to make new settlements, I suppose. Westernize us, or something to do with farming the land. We do not farm, we hunt. It is not our way, but they wanted to make it our way.
My
assimilate
people
us.
too lost a war to these English people. White men forced opium on us.
Yes.
I sort of nudge Alan and saying, right, I think we better get out of here. Just
But I'll vouch for those specific three. Beyond that, I can't say.
You talk of stopping this man Carver and destroying everything, but we do not want more death and destruction. There has been enough here. There are some of the Martu as well, especially in places like Jigalong, that were separated from the rest of us, who have been taken in by people like Carver, told that these white men have done these things to you. I will help you stop them. That is how they've been recruited.
At this point, I'll sort of move forward a little. The crimes that have been done to you and your people are horrendous. There is no excuse. We are not asking to help you. We are begging for your help. We will not demand it. We cannot demand it. We are asking. You say that you do not wish further death to your people. That is understandable. I understand that. More than anyone here, I understand that.
Even now, we still get people coming along this route.
However, if this man Carver succeeds in his plans, there will be devastation in this entire region. No one will be safe. Your people stand on the edge of oblivion here. There is a chance to stop this permanently. But we need your help.
Very compelling speech. They're certainly taken by it. So what I'll say, give me another persuade roll, but more for how many people you convince as opposed to do you or don't you. So you can lead that, Andrew. You do have a bonus die for your playing.
Which I will be using.
Okay.
And
Luck.
I am going to spend, we really need these guys. I am going to spend 26 luck to make this a hard pass.
A hard pass. Okay.
I only need one to make it a pass. But I want to get it down to a hard pass because we need these guys.
Okay.
So I'll take the hit.
Okay. What I'll say is that they kind of stand up as if they've made a decision. And they say to you, if this is true, that there will be devastation far and wide, and it will reach what we have left, then it is in our interest to stop this as well.
Yes.
We will help you.
Miss Fen can attest, as I can, as Mr. Carter can, about what we observed in Shanghai. We cannot allow what happened there to even try and happen here. We were successful in stopping what was attempted in Shanghai. Yeah, they don't need to know that bit.
Yeah, I know.
They don't need to know it was a game of inches. But we need to stop this. We need to stop this man, and we need your help.
We will drive him away from here, away from our lands, kill him if we have to. And you see that they're obviously well trained in the art of fighting. They have these huge, 5-foot long spear sort of malarkey, big blades on the end. They do once again paint up as well in Martu colors, all in their refinery.
That's fine.
They're happy to talk about the rest of the route as well. They know a little. Oh,
right there.
You will.
Everything moved around.
Yes,
everything moved around.
Yeah,
just for
I
a second
thought that
there.
was my connection again.
Yeah, just for a second there, you went. You just went still. You froze, and then bing, bang, boom. I can only assume it was StreamYard being
yeah, probably. Anyway, what I was saying was they're happy to talk with you about like a plan of attack or plan of action upon reaching the area. They don't know a lot about what's going on at the minute, but they've heard stories about more people arriving in the area and things like that. They say in particular they come from the west, and sometimes from the south. And what I'll say is that the woman that you kind of came across further along, she talked about there was some sort of camp near to where she was being kept, which she doesn't think anybody's there anymore, but there might be. It was just fairly quiet.
Was that the camp our friend from Darwin was at, possibly?
It's a theory.
Does she know how many people were there currently at all? I mean, if that camp's empty, how many other people were there? There must be someone there because he's been held prisoner.
She almost grabs your arms or your lapels and looks you in the eye and says, "That place, it goes on for miles and miles. It is so dark down there. So many huge towers of all mysterious angles, and people come in and out of the shadows. There could be 50 of them. There could be 100. I don't know. We were being kept up in a room somewhere while they had their fun down below in some sort of church, I think."
Suddenly wishing we'd gotten a whole truckload of Lewis guns.
Of dynamite at the very least. Did we get
Dynamite would have been good, yeah.
You did not mention dynamite, no.
Fuck.
You pretty much said everything else, but not dynamite.
Oh well.
So, do you have a plan of attack, or would you rather wait until you get closer?
We can't plan anything until we get closer. We've got to see what we're up against.
Could she draw what's there? A plan of what's there?
She doesn't know much. I mean, it sounds
Then
like
more
she
than
was brought there against her will.
Then more than we've got.
Okay, what I will actually no, I'll see if she remembers. Let's go with that. Oh, definitely not. She tries to remember, but so much of her memory is clouded with visions of horror and terrifying things that she just starts rambling.
Well, when we start getting closer, we're going to hand out guns to those who want them because we know they have creatures that fly. That's about as much of a plan as we've got. What we do know is that we need to do a ritual. I'll explain the ritual.
Mm-hmm. Do you show them the capstone as well?
Yeah, by all means.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't have any of these people running away at the first sight of something flying at us.
Well, you don't know about the Mwanjan people necessarily, but you get the idea that the Martu will not run. They are hardy.
There's enough of us. But, safety in numbers. If you run away, you're by yourself.
Indeed. And where can you run to, really?
Has to be done at a high point, but it does take many hours to cast. So we need to find the nearest high point to the location, mount the capstone, and do the ritual. But that will involve making sure that the area is clear enough in order to do it. So once we get there and we see what we're up against, we can figure out what it is we need to do. We may have to clear them out first.
Okay. Coolio.
Perhaps a couple of us could go forward before everybody goes, just to see what the lay of the land is.
It's an idea. I mean, with the cattle drivers, actually, just in general, that's what they used to do. There would be people scouting ahead to check, how far the wells were away from each other. So yeah, if you want to do that, you can. Hopefully, it won't be a bit like outside Omar Al Shakti's place.
Yeah, that didn't work, did it?
No.
But I don't know anything about that. So
Well, Alan's obviously volunteered. Is anybody else going with?
We're not close to this place yet, though, are we? We seem to be
Not
making
close enough to
final-
see anything. No.
Yeah. All right, we've got many more wells. I assume there's. Oh, is this a? Oh, mind you, yes. This journey has had 2 random encounters, hasn't it? Is it complete? All journeys are, after all, exactly 2 random encounters long.
Why did you have to mention it?
You're breaking the immersion for Giorgio.
It's just you're kind of talking about final arrival prep and stuff, and it's like, but
No, I'm just
surely
going with
shit's
what
gonna go
Phil's
wrong,
been
yeah?
saying.
Now that you mention it, before that, what's your dexterity score, guys?
Yeah, I've not actually said you've set off or resumed yet, but it's just exploring ideas.
How many did we get again of these? Sorry, what was the name of the people?
Martu.
Two people. Yeah, how many of them did we
Martu.
get?
I don't think I ever said, did I?
no,
It was a hard pass.
You got 120.
More?
that's
Or
not
total?
too bad.
As in 120 Martu.
Awesome.
We can't afford to lose some people then.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a fight, isn't there? Where half these
Yeah, that's what I'm
people
saying.
are gonna-
Yeah. We're going to get attacked, so we.
Yeah, we got an army though. Do we have guns
Yeah.
for everybody?
I doubt we've got that many.
They use their spears.
but
They don't know how to
there's
use
that.
guns.
Or throw rocks?
Hmm.
Fuck you.
I mean, they have spears.
Yeah.
We'd
iron
have bought
spears.
enough rifles for those we were leaving with, so we'd have 140 rifles, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Plenty ammo.
Yeah. And, it's guns for whoever wants them. And, maybe some of the Martu are interested.
But whoever
knows,
wants them,
but-
but can we make sure whoever knows how to use them gets one first?
Mhm.
Well, we should do, on our next rest day then, let's do some gun training for those who want them.
Hmm.
Okay.
Are we going to go with the Russian method? Pair up 2 people, give one the gun, and the second guy an extra clip of bullets.
No, if they want a gun, they can have a gun, but they should go through training first. We'll do a day's training on our next rest day before we get too close.
Yeah, we don't want to be too close when we
We
start
went-
firing.
A couple of days off the track anyway, didn't we?
You did,
Hmm.
yes.
And the Martu people know this land and where they can drink from, but from what I gather, they're not going to be too keen about an extra 145 people drinking their precious water supply. So we should probably get back to the canning route.
I mean, to be honest, you kind of have to anyway if you've
Mhm.
got any kind of sense of navigation and stuff.
Yeah,
It's going to be much harder going if you just stay off it.
yeah. So we'll get back to the canning route, do a couple more days down there, and then we'll do a training, a rest/training day.
Okay. How many more days do you want to go then before another rest?
I mean, if we are a couple of days away,
You're
we
more
may
than that.
go.
You're more than that.
So we were here.
We just had
And
a
we
bit
were
of
a couple of
rest,
days
and-
off the track, right? So if we get back to the corner and then resume our route down to about here or here, I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Should
Give
that
or
well count?
take the wells kind of a day each. So getting all the way down is
Okay.
going to be about 2 weeks.
So
2
we've got to get down to where? The big ruby.
The big
Yes.
ruby is your coordinates, yes.
Okay,
Who's
so should-
moving the map? Yeah,
I am doing anything.
leave it alone.
So when we get to the lakes, we'll start following the lakes around, right?
Well, they're not really lakes at the moment. They're more just dry, bottoms, but you could sort of see
Okay.
them.
But easy enough to use as a navigational aid is my point. So when we get
Yeah, potentially.
4 or 5 wells before the lakes, then we'll go to whichever well is full. That's the one we stop at.
All right.
So from this point on, whichever well is full, that's the one we stop at and do a rest day.
And we're going to follow the lakes around that curve, yeah?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Okay. Yes. Which is apparently the Percival Lakes are known as the Wala. That's their actual name.
Oh, that was me.
Will you
stop? No, I apologise both times I did it. The other times it wasn't me.
It's a good job I locked the two maps together because I spent so long trying to line up that top bit. Literally, it doesn't quite work anyway. It's only approximate, but oh my god,
That's all right.
The scale does not add up there. Okay, fine. So, you trudge on a little more, and you realize the Martu actually go at quite a pace. They're obviously used to traversing this land on foot, and you're kind of having to keep up with them almost a little bit. Would I be able to get you all to make me con rolls again, please?
0, 0, 1.
Oh my goodness me!
Pass.
Yeah, it's a regular.
Could have done it on a roll where it would have actually mattered, but yeah, well.
That's a hard pass for me.
Phil?
Just pass. Regular pass.
A pass. Okay.
I think that roll's so good, I must just shake it off an STD.
What kind of... See, when you said, well, we've had 2 encounters, what kind of encounters were you having?
I think we all know what sort of encounters she's been having.
I thought it sounded more than two anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been more than 2 encounters if that's the case.
Look, right, my threshold is 80, right? There are 100, now hang on, there are now 261 people. So that is approximately 40 viable subjects.
This is almost like it's almost like a mixture of Madame Butterfly with Don Giovanni.
It's like doing shots.
This Chinese woman going around fucking everybody. Okay, cool. So, fortunately, even with the quickening pace, no one is getting heat stroke or anything like that. There is plenty of water. However, what I will say is that if you're walking on foot, you're starting to get blisters, at least, which are quite painful. And Andrew, in particular, you are looking really quite red in your complexion from sunburn. But
we're no used to this in Scotland.
No. Some of the locals find it quite amusing, actually. But apart from that, it hurts a bit and it stings, but you're still, okay. You're not getting any kind of heat stroke or anything like that.
Never thought I'd miss drizzle.
I'm just trying to work out how long.
Drift mornings.
Okay, so it's still pretty far. Okay, fine. Cool. So yeah, what I'll say is that you reach the tip of Percival Lakes or the Walu. And yeah, you see this big kind of almost crater in the land.
Bless you.
Gesundheit.
Bless you, guys.
Where you presume that a lake will be somewhere in the wet season, but right now it is absolutely bone dry.
So if you've done a gun training day, then handed guns out.
I'm just about to say this is a good place, they say, to stop, and you can attempt to train some people. However, with the Mwanjan people, it's a little bit different because a few of them have at least used guns before and they're familiar with the concept, but the Martu really are not. They don't know how to use them at all. So if you're going to teach them, that's fine, but you're going to need to make me a roll. It's going to need to be a firearms roll of the one you're teaching them.
And
Don't
what we
look at
teach
me.
them? Rifle or handgun?
I can't use a gun. I'm going to do katas all day instead.
Sure.
I can do a rifle roll if you.
I really cannot, unless I can
could-
do an
I-
handgun.
I could do a
No,
rifle
I'm
roll.
not. I'm not.
I've got 83 in rifle, guys. I'm
Oh.
just putting that out there.
I mean, both of you can do individual rolls.
okay.
It's fine because there's plenty of people.
If you're not good, well, I'll spend 2 to make it pass.
Okay. Andrew?
Dice, I hate you.
You started that sentence with so much confidence.
Yeah.
I
you did.
Did you confuse the martyr? How many did we lose?
Well, you've not lost anybody.
Thank God for that.
You could push the roll, Andrew. If you fail, then yes, it's possible that you might injure somebody.
And that's how you don't shoot a rifle.
Yeah,
No,
then you just say like
no,
that,
I'm
but
not,
at the
I'm not
enemy.
going to risk it.
Not going to risk it. Okay.
No, push
not-
it. It's 83. Come on. We got spares.
We got
And
spares.
doctors.
I rolled fucking 97 for God's sake. This is not a good sign.
And thank God you didn't jam the rifle.
Don't hold us in suspense.
14. That'll do
14.
nicely.
Okay. Is that an extreme
That's an
or a
extreme
hard?
for me.
That is an extreme. Okay. Cool.
83, it better be a bloody
All right.
extreme.
So you spend a good like 6 hours or so doing it. So it does take you longer. You almost kind of hang your head in despair to start with when some of them are kind of curiously looking down the barrel, like as if they have to
Don't
put something
do
in
that!
it or what have you. But eventually you kind of show them how to hold it, get the gist. And given that they're good at throwing spears, they're great at aiming, from a
Yeah.
distance. So rifles are perfect for them. So I'll say that in particular the Martu, are happy to use them as well as their spears. So yeah, they're not perfect. They've only used it for a few hours, but they get the gist of how to use them.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll make a
good.
little note.
That's good. And if this bed of this lake is fairly flat, are we going to make better time across the bed?
I
of
said it's
the
very
lake?
dry. I didn't say it was very flat.
Oh, okay.
But even a dry bed would actually, because it won't be. He says this, in the desert or blown sand everywhere, but hopefully it won't be quite as sandy, so there'll be better grip for the wheels and.
It's not, but they say to you that lake beds tend to be a good place for snakes and other animals to, roam around in and tread.
Right, let's not go through this. Let's not do that then.
Going around along the edges of the lake then.
Yes.
Yeah, potentially that would make it a little easier going in that regard.
Then let's do that.
And if we see something up in the air that looks a long, long way away, don't shoot it. I say
If you see something up in the air that looks very close, shoot it.
Shoot it.
Just thought I'd stress that point.
We have heard of these large birds in the area picking people off.
Yeah, these are very, very, very large birds.
Groups of people shoot them, it will go down. 1 person, 2 people, 3 people shooting, it's not enough.
I'll need to look up what a spear is, but I think it's D6. Anyway, so you're following round the lakes themselves. Okay, let me just double check the distance. Yeah, okay. Okay, so naturally, as you're going off the beaten track, whilst you've got a nice trail going round and you've got your maps, there are no water sources at all along here, so you have to use your own supplies.
Well, we're going to
So
have
no
to
more
leave the
topping
trail.
up.
We're going to
You
have to leave the trail at some point.
Yeah. You can't just jump your way. But since you've been topping up, and since you've got a good chunk of supplies left, you think you should be all right. Although it kind of depends how long you're going to stay in this area, if anything. So for now you're all right. But if you're here for a while, or if you have to make multiple trips or something, then you're gonna have to top up somewhere. So let me just quickly have a think what time we are. Okay. Okay. Right. So a few more days pass, and the lakes, or rather the lake beds, start curving and changing direction and going southwest. And coming in southwest now, you start noticing the lands change a little bit. Still big distances we're talking here, but in the distance you can see what you think is like an escarpment where the land shifts in altitude quite dramatically. Before then, there does appear to be some sort of valley, possibly, that looks kind of secluded, but at the same time, it looks like there has been some activity there. You can make me spot hidden rolls if you like on your approach.
Oh, just.
Nope.
Oh, hard pass.
I failed miserably.
Okay.
Pass.
Okay. So you notice away from the lakes, in a roughly southern direction, those of you who've passed, it's basically you think maybe a small gorge. Again, very secluded. And with your hard pass, Alan, I'll say that you can see a way through to the kind of epicenter of this gorge, that's quite long and thin, from your right, aka the west, which you could travel down there possibly. There might be an entrance to the south as well, you don't really know. But the closer you get, the more you think, okay, this is roughly where we need to be in terms of coordinates, etc.
Okay, and when you say narrow, how narrow? Is it like one person at a time? Can we get the
No,
carts through?
you could definitely get like single file, maybe two abreast if you're lucky. It might get thinner, thicker, as you go down. It seems to be quite long.
Okay, I'll tell everybody that. We need to be careful because it could be a good place for an ambush if they are gonna. If they do know we're here and Pink gonna ambush us.
Right. So, do you think we should send a small group ahead to scout?
I think it'd be a good idea.
And meanwhile, what are we going to do with our wagon train as well? Because obviously that kind of it's too many people to hide anyway. But
Well, can we hide the wagons somewhere behind some hills or back in by the lake bed or something?
Yeah. There's
actually low
enough.
down.
You think there's maybe enough distance, as long as there's maybe no kind of birds nearby that nobody will be able to see if they're there. In terms of the narrow gorge, that's roughly a few miles long as well. So kind of, once you're in, you can't really
Well,
get
it is
out
long.
except backwards.
Okay, because I don't want to leave our supplies behind. I'm sure there's some wagons that by now we've probably drunk up 1 or 2 water wagons, whatever. But but wagons are also could be a useful defensive
Yes.
fortification. So I'd rather not just sort of leave them behind and then potentially lose them and then lose all our supplies. So I guess for the moment we'll just move with them because we're a couple of hundred people. It's not like we're going to be we'd have to really work at it to everyone to pass their stealth rolls.
Well,
But if everyone could pass their stealth rolls, by God.
There is a suggestion there might be a wider entrance further south, though. But that could be where the cultists are going in and out, perhaps. If they're taking equipment in and out, then.
Well, I suggest for the moment we stick to reconnaissance en masse. If they send things at us, we fight them off. Make sure you got your guns to hand. We're in dangerous territory now, everyone.
Make sure all the guns are fully loaded, even the ones that aren't going to be immediately used.
If we start firing, though, they're definitely going to know we're there, aren't they?
We're coming in on a wagon train. They're going to know we're there.
Yeah, we're I don't think sneak. I think I'm honestly tempted to say that rather than sneak, we make our bet. We go in as with as much cover as possible, but we go in there as fast as we can.
Do it the other way. Just go fast.
Just catch them unawares, and hopefully.
By the way, it's now Thursday, the 3rd of September. It's roughly about 8 o'clock in the morning.
New moon we're looking for, aren't we?
For the ritual, yeah.
For the ritual, it's a full moon. The
full
new
moon.
moons are the kind of traditional time when the cult does shit.
When's the next full moon?
The next full moon. Oh, that's a good point. I don't think I've written it on September. I have a feeling you're either very close to it or you've just missed it. Let me have a look.
If you've just missed it, it might be worth taking a lot longer to arrive and getting people.
If we missed it, we are fucked because we don't have enough supplies to survive in the desert for a month.
We'll have to go back to the wells again.
September.
What about food?
Well, I'm rather hoping if we can kill everyone there, they'll have food.
I'm afraid that it was yesterday.
Well, that being the case, then I think we'd have been crazy to come off the trail yet, because we'd have to kill a month, basically, don't we? Yeah. So we have to.
We cannot kill a month. We don't have supplies to wait.
Well, we have water.
If we start the trail,
what about food? Are we gonna kill each other and eat each other?
No, but we have people here that are used to hunting. 120 of them. They hunt
in the bad desert. They live off this land to feed twice the people.
Yeah, that's
it's
a lot
bullshit.
Of people.
How do you think the hunters feed their families? Not everyone.
They're not twice as we are. They got 120 of them. We are 260. That's twice the people. We are still in the desert. Not all of them are hunters.
And within a few days, some of us will have picked up the basics.
We've got horses to feed as well.
Yep.
We got horses to eat.
True.
Mm-hmm.
We won't
and
need
a couple
all
of
the
months
wagons.
to go back to Darwin.
Yeah, plus, look, we got return supplies. We're not going to run out to the way home and then we start eating the horses. We're not going to run out in this month because, it took a month to get here, even, didn't it, or something?
Yeah, the next full moon is the 2nd of October.
Oh shit!
then yeah, we start eating through our return supplies, and then we'll be eating a lot of horse, but we supplement that with hunting.
So are you planning to wait?
Before we'd go up the lakes, we'd kill that time because
Yeah.
there'd be no point.
Right. Okay.
I mean, we can arrive several days before, give us enough time to poke, or even a week before, maybe 10 days. But there's only so much poking around we can do, you know?
Before we get found out, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to go in there with enough time to take these guys out and deal with any possible reinforcements and set ourselves up for this ritual. Because we
I say
can't
we're
afford to
going
miss
like
it.
10 days earlier just to make sure we can get the right site and stuff like that. Because if we.
Yeah, it's no good leaving to the day before and find out it's not actually the right place.
Yeah. If we go in 10 days earlier, that's enough time to relocate and all sorts. And still, by this point, we're probably not even started on the horses yet.
Okay, so I'm just writing where you are on what dates. So thinking around 10 days you're going to turn off, or 10 days before you're going to turn off.
Yeah. Right. Basically, we want to arrive 10 days before a full moon.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So let me just have a think for a moment. Actually, yeah, let's do it like this. So, I'll say that you camp out on the canning stock route. You have to kind of explain to the Martu what's going on. Some of them even kind of go back to their families for a bit, or they kind of camp a bit further away. But you can definitely try and forage for some extra food if you'd like. You do have some supplies left, but yeah, you are going to start running out. So it might be worth doing, now rather than later. I believe Alan has survival desert. Do you not?
Outback.
Even better, Outback. Okay. However, it is getting hotter still during the day, and it's getting a smaller and smaller window in terms of when you can actually think straight, or if you have to kind of sleep it off. So, I'd like another con roll from everyone first of all, please.
See, that 0-1 didn't help me at all, did it? Could have been anything.
It did for now, but it's still getting hotter.
Hard pass.
Sorry.
That is a pass.
Ooh.
I could spend 3 luck and make it a hard pass if I need to.
That is a hard pass. I could spend 2 and make it the extreme.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
I'm spending 5 luck to make it a pass.
Okay. Yep. So you're kind of conditioning yourself and slowly getting used to it, but it is getting frustrating that you don't have these sort of bigger windows anymore to go out and forage. It's just getting too hot. It's getting more like 35 peak plus more. That's a good point. The group luck is rather small, I imagine. Just before you get to the plot. But anyway, Alan, can you give me then a survival outback, please?
Okay, so that's what I was going for. 24. Okay, you're 12. Pass by 1.
Okay. I'll say that there's a couple of dingoes that you managed to get a kill on. I mean, it kind of depends on how long, how much food you want to get, but certainly for a day, a couple of dingoes will be fine.
Okay.
You can get them roasted and stuff.
We're killing. So if we're going 10 days before, we're killing approximately 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
A little over.
Yeah, just over, yeah.
So I think it's really. Are you saying he got 2 dingoes for that period, or do you mean
A day.
Yeah, a day or so.
Like the general plan is that we hunt as best as we can. Some of us might even learn a bit of hunting, in order to supplement the food we've got during this period.
Oh, for the whole time. Okay, rather than just like a little buffer. Okay. All right. Well, given the amount of people you've got with you, I'm happy for you to collectively gather some food, whether it's dingoes, maybe a bit of snake, or some other supplies and things, some geckos, etc., etc. And you eat a little bit more off the land, shall we say? But obviously, to Martu in particular, it's completely normal. However, before you kind of get to your end of your camping period, comes the 18th of September.
Is that a full moon?
It is
new moon thingy, cult day.
Even where you are, there is this feeling of terror that haunts everyone. The atmosphere is very tense tonight, and you hear from somewhere down below you, around the air, some great low-pitched noise, almost like a big like a low roar, something like that, which just slowly sifts through the sand. It causes it to move around a little bit, making you a bit uneasy, and obviously worrying the horses and so on.
I'm not going to miss this opportunity for propaganda to reinforce just why we need to do what we're doing.
Okay. I would also like, and this was planned before the luck spree, but I would also like a group luck roll, please. It's a good job you did save your summary until next time.
No, actually, I wish I'd been able to cobble together a summary. I would have had a couple of more bloody luck points.
You win some, you lose some.
We're about to lose big, unless I roll really, really well. I missed by 30, so yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't even close.
At the start of the session, it would have been.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure we had the Martu with us. So
No, you're quite right.
It's just an awful lot of points to have to do, but I was desperate to get them on side.
Oh yeah, we needed another 130 odd people, didn't we?
I needed the fighters. Like, I'm very worried about the other lot just running off.
Yes.
Which is why I'm saying I'm going to take the opportunity to use this as propaganda.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll realise in the best interest to stay with everybody, because they know how far away from everywhere they are now.
I should have popped this up earlier, but I didn't think of it. Just give me a minute, because I kind of want to give you a little bit more of a description of what's going on. Do talk amongst yourselves to make this less awkward for me.
No, we're okay with it being awkward.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
You're very accommodating like that.
Aren't you just? Aren't you just?
I'm surprised you found so much about the canning stock trail, actually.
Well, some of it was quite difficult because it was very kind of glazed over in this. Oh yes, Canning went this way with some explorers, and it's like, well, no, it wasn't really that, was it? Let's be honest. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm gonna do that instead. That makes it a bit more exciting. Okay. So yeah, you hear this noise, and from below, more sounds of something rhythmical happening. And for a while, you wonder, is there going to be maybe a flying creature come along, something like that, and you start looking up into the sky and surveying, maybe with your guns cocked. But then you start feeling a rumbling from beneath your feet, and from the north, you start seeing an approaching sandstorm. And that is where we're going to leave it.
Oh, bugger.
As a player, a part of me really wishes that's a doll. Another part of me really wishes it isn't a doll.
Oh, what? Sorry?
The sandworms,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
like Tremor kind of thing.
No Tremor or no
We'll see, I
June?
guess.
Because they're a bit bigger in June.
In June is way bigger, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and Tremors is more endable. Maybe. Don't know.
That's an underrated movie, that one.
Hmm.
Yep.
That's a wee classic, that film.
Well, screw this cult, frankly.
Wow.
A bitch slapped a lot of them.
Screw the cult, screw the full moon,
They've
screw.
just ruined my
everything.
lubrication supply.
And in other news,
Okay, so Ronnie is doing the recap next week.
yeah.
I just realised we just Kiev'd, didn't we? We got this 40-mile column of caravans. We parked up outside the city for 2 weeks because we didn't have enough bloody supplies.
Yeah.
I got the day wrong.
Yes, it does make all the difference out here. But still, I hope you enjoyed that.
Yes.
Statistical
As always.
nightmare.
As always.
And things will only get more dangerous from here on out.
Yeah.
But we will find
No
out
doubt.
next week as we
Alrighty.
start climbing now towards the climax of the campaign.
That suggests that next week isn't the climax, which means we're at the wrong fucking hole.
We shall
Right,
see.
See you next week, folks.
All right. See you next week.
Alright.